Welcome to the Writer's Room. So this is our next series of videos, and this is in preparation actually for a class that I've been working on for the last 2 years with my team, and it's going to be for playwrights and screenwriters, and it'll be a 16-hour course. And right now I'm just trying to get folks' feedback to make sure I'm covering all the bases. So I'm going to do a series of videos, and I would love for you to weigh in, comment, tell me if I'm covering everything, tell me what you would like to see in this class, and I will make sure that happens. I'm also doing these videos in preparation for a free class I'm going to do next week, Tuesday at 6 p.m. And if you can't make that time, we will record it and we'll send you the recording. So you can sign up on this page in the comments or click on the link that says subscribe. So, why I decided to teach this class. I came on board to Simon Says Entertainment in 2010, and my friend Ron Simons had founded the company in 2009 and started making the film Night Catches Us, and it was in post when I joined Simon Says Entertainment, which was founded by the brilliant Ron Simons. And both Ron and I are actors turned producers. And much of the reason that we became producers of stories is because we were auditioning for parts that were really a sort of limited scope of the human condition. And so there were stories that we wanted to see told that weren't being told. And when you make your own stories, well, you get to control what stories get put out into the world. And that's a whole lot more exciting than complaining. Which is why I always encourage artists, write, learn to write. If you're an actor, if you're a musician, if you're a dancer, all of those art forms are about storytelling. You're telling us something about the human condition, right? By taking us on a journey. As a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has a protagonist, a heroine, even if that's you as an artist, who is changed by the end of that journey. And you allow us to have a window into your life. That's what great storytelling does. And that's what's so exciting about it. That's the moment you have on stage when your character felt something you've been crafting for months and months, going, gosh, I hope I got this right. And someone in the audience gasps or starts crying. And you go, wow, I'm doing this story justice, right? Because I'm allowing my viewers to have this experience, right? You know, the key tool of storytelling is empathy. You know you've told a good story if folks out in the audience can identify with your heroine or your hero, even if that person is completely different from you, right? That's the nature of good storytelling, and that's why as artists we're so drawn to it. That's why everybody's drawn to it, actually, artists or not. People always want to write their memoir before they die. You know, people have a story to tell. And in becoming a producer, we realized there's lots of stories that we want to see, and folks talk to us about stories they want to see, but the execution is not always there. And so these videos, the Writer's Room itself, as well as a class that will be coming up, and it'll be announced at the end of September, is really about how do you get that story on the page? How do you get it production ready? How do you get it ready for a producer to see? How do you get it ready for someone in the industry who has the wherewithal to get it produced, whether it's a play or a film? How do you get that script ready? And what does ready look like, right? That's the first thing we'll talk about in this class, and what I'm going to talk about a little bit today. The second piece is, once you have the execution down, how do you get produced? How do you pull together a team? How do you do what you've never done before? Well, I'll tell you, neither Ron nor I had ever made movies before. Ever. We read lots of books, we asked lots of questions, we allowed our actor selves to weigh in on whether or not a story we were reading was actually engaging, and then we learned as we went along. We learned how to raise money. We learned how to develop a script and shape it. We learned how to shoot and create a shoot that looks like a very expensive movie for a little bit of money. We learned as we went along, and it was terrifying, but I'll tell you what's more terrifying. Continually auditioning for roles that are so limited, that are not exciting, that are not challenging, stories that you actually aren't interested in telling. A career of that is far more frightening than learning how to write stories and produce them. Trust. So one of the key things I want to talk about in the writing of a story, in the next video I'll talk more about how to get it produced. But in this one I want to talk about the first 15 pages. The first 15 pages are the hardest. And here's why. You're introducing all the characters, you're introducing the given circumstances. And what tends to happen is people give us a lot of exposition. You tell me about someone's past. You tell me that they have a bad attitude. They have conversations that give us facts and figures about the place where we are. None of that is action. None of it. And in those first 15 pages, we need to meet all of the protagonists, and we need to know what the central problem of the story is, right? And the problem is why you wrote it. The problem is the one thing that the protagonist has to overcome, right, for the story to resolve, so that your protagonist is changed by the end of the story, right? The story has a good beginning, middle, and end. The beginning is always the hardest. So I'm going to tell you a trick to get rid of all the exposition, get rid of all the challenges of where do I begin? I don't know where to start. Why did you write this story? Write that down. What thing happened in your life that made you want to tell this story? Because 9 times out of 10, the protagonist of the story is someone you know and understand, or you've come to know and understand based on something that happened in your life, a life-changing thing. Write that down. And then start with the event that changes the protagonist. That may not be the beginning of the story. That may not be the beginning of the play. That may not be the beginning of the movie. But for the purposes of activating the storytelling mechanism, I want you to write the inciting event. If the inciting event is a war, write the first scene of the war, right? If the inciting event is the character gives birth, then let the character give birth. Begin with the action. And I promise you, it will change the nature of your storytelling. And then you can write backwards from there or write around that. Your beginning will be so much stronger if you start with the event and people existing as they are. So don't feel a need to explain to us who everybody is. If there's an event happening and everybody's jumping in trying to deliver the baby, we'll get who everybody is without you explaining. Write the inciting event. Write that scene first, or those series of the scenes, and then go back and write the beginning. Or maybe that becomes the beginning. I don't know. But I tell you what, if you begin with the problem of the screenplay or the play, the writing will be so much more exciting, the stakes will be higher, and the rest of the writing will be easy. Easy writing. Can you imagine? And this is an exercise that I have folks do who submit stuff to us and we're like, it's not quite ready, you know, I need some development. It's always a tip that I give to writers. And I'm like, do that, submit it to some festivals, and then let me know how you're doing, right? That is a part of the developmental process because we are looking for scripts that are ready to be developed right now. And part of the class that will be coming up at the end of August, it'll be announced, is, you know, it will be a weekend of us showing you how to get a script ready for production, how to create a script and a package that someone will jump to produce. Someone will say, no problem, I'll raise a few $1 million for you. I'm very excited about this. I can understand that I can get on board. That's what we're going to show folks to do. It helps you, it helps us, because it means next year we'll have 20 more scripts ready to go because we've taken what we've learned and given back, right? Which is the whole reason we became producers to begin with. It certainly ain't to get rich. It's to tell the story, right? That's why we're here. And we're artists because storytelling is our gift. And so I want to help you do that. So I'd love for you to tune in for our next video, which will be coming out in a couple of days, and it will be about how to get that script produced. And I promise you, this will change your entire reality. It's a lot simpler than you thought. There are steps, there's a formula, it's not rocket science, and the best way to learn how to do it is to ask someone who did and learn from our mistakes and trust. As producers, we learned a lot from our mistakes, but at the same time, our research and us being true at Simon Says Entertainment to artistic storytelling that is a strong narrative, that is character driven, and that has something to say that has not been said before. Every one of our films have gone to Sundance and sold. We have no clue how that happened, but I can certainly tell you what worked and what didn't work. And that's what these videos are about, and that's what the class will be about. So learn from our mistakes and then learn from our successes. Thanks. And if you'd like these videos to come directly to you, you can sign up at thedreamunlock.com for the Writers Super 7. You'll get 7 days of fellowships, grants, writer tips, videos of Stephen King and other great writers giving you tips on the creative process. So go to thedreamunlock.com, sign up for the Writers Super 7, and look out for these videos. I'm excited. Talk to you soon.